Hello there, and welcome to Central Lutheran Online. It's so awesome that you're all tuning in with us today. My name is Clay Howard, and I am the Communications Director here at Central. I'm so glad to be with all of you this morning here at Central Lutheran Online. I also want to give a special shout out to our friends Bethel Lutheran Church up in New Auburn. If you're watching online with us, thank you so much for being with us this morning here. Now, if you're new to Central, please don't forget to say hi in the chat below. We'd love to connect with you. I also want to encourage you to head on over to central-lutheran.org, click on Next Steps, and then click on Connect. There you can learn more about who we are as a church. Or you can also pick up your smartphone or tablet and head to your app store. There you can search for Central Lutheran Church, and there you can download our app, fill out a Connect card. You can also watch past sermons and set up online giving. There's tons of awesome stuff to do on there. Now, if you've been around Central for a while, you have probably heard that we want to be a church that is known for what we are for, and we are for Chippewa. Now, one of the ways that we are for Chippewa is by how we serve and do good in the community. Serving opportunities throughout the year give us the opportunity to truly be the church to our neighbors. Now, if you're interested in serving or want to learn about the ways that you can serve your neighborhood, you can head over to central-lutheran.org/serve. There you can sign up for a project and learn more about serving opportunities. In fact, one of those opportunities is approaching us fast. Cram the Cruiser. The Ellie Phillips Career Development Center Outreach Office, Chippewa Falls Police Department, and Family Fair will be holding their first annual Cram the Cruiser food drive on Saturday, June 5th, 2021 from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the Family Fair parking lot at 212 Bay Street, Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. Outreach office staff and officers will be collecting non-perishable food items and goods to be donated to the Outreach Office's food pantry, supporting Chippewa County residents. Please try to add it to your calendar, stop by, and buy some food donations to go to a great cause. Let's continue to be #4Chippewa. Now, with summer quickly approaching and COVID still a concern, the staff of Central have decided to make some changes to our service times over the summer. Starting on May 18th, we will be pausing our Wednesday modern worship services over the summer. Those modern worship services will be moved to Sundays starting on June 6th. Traditional will be at 8:30 and modern will start at 10 a.m. And our online service, this right here, will also be streamed Sundays at 9 a.m. Thanks for being understanding and flexible as we go through these ever-changing times. Save the date for this summer's VBS. Yeah, you heard that right. It's been a few summers since we've had VBS, and this year we are mixing it up and providing 2 full days of fun on August 10th and 11th. Now, we are currently seeking volunteers for those 2 fun-filled days. You can head to Central's website for more information. All right, guys, it's time for worship, so let's get right into it. Thanks so much for being here today at Central Lutheran Online.
Takes the Hey kids, welcome to week 3 of Battles and Blessings, the kids' message. I want to welcome all of you. My question for you is this: how do you feel when you wake up in the morning and you know that something really exciting is going to happen? What if it's something that you've never done before? Well, Joshua had told the people of Israel that today would be the day. Today the Lord would do something amazing. Today, Joshua said, was the day that they had waited 40 years for. What would it be? Well, God had done some amazing things already for the Israelites, right? Let's see here. God parted the Red Sea, and God led the people out of Egypt. He provided manna or food every day that they were in the wilderness. It was amazing. I mean, food every day without fail. How awesome. Yes, God had done some amazing things, but those things had all happened when who was leading? Moses. Moses was dead now, and Joshua was their new leader. So you can imagine, Joshua must be thinking, am I as good of a leader as Moses? Will God still do amazing things for the Israelites with me as he did with Moses? So, as Joshua led the nation of Israel into the promised land, he walked a path that he had never walked before. I mean, does that sound familiar? Have you ever walked a path that you were unfamiliar with? Maybe it was walking into a brand new school. Maybe it was walking onto a new team or walking into some new friendships. You know what it feels like to walk into something that's new and unfamiliar. That was Joshua. And the first thing he had to do is he had to go get God's people into the promised land and to get them to cross the Jordan River. I mean, this river that they had to walk across was huge, bigger than any rivers that are around here. Now, it had rained a lot lately, and the days were getting warmer, and the melting snow in the mountains was racing toward the river. The Jordan River was a muddy, angry torrent, high over its banks. It was flooding. So Joshua began leading, and he said this: first, the 10 commandments that are in this Ark of the Covenant, they will go into the Jordan ahead of all of you, Joshua was saying, and you are to follow the 10 commandments. And then Joshua said, as soon as the priests who carry the Ark of the Covenant, as soon as their feet hit the Jordan River, its waters are going to part. And it's going to be awesome. They'll be cut off and they'll stand up like a wall. And Joshua continued, the priests will remain in the middle of the river while the entire Israelite camp crosses. So break camp now and get ready, Joshua says. So here they are. The priests were carrying the Ark of the Covenant, and moving forward, they were leading the entire Israelites, millions of people, straight toward the rushing, roaring, flooding Jordan River. The priests didn't hesitate for a moment as they stepped right into the rapids. And get this, as soon as their feet touched the water stopped. The water came to a complete halt, piling up just as Joshua had said it would be. And the priests moved into the middle of the river, and the line of people moved quickly from one side of the riverbank to the other side. They began to pick their way across the rocky riverbed and up to the other side. The priests still, while they stood in the middle of the riverbed, still holding the ark. And then finally, the last of the Israelites stepped into the promised land on the other side of the Jordan River. And get this, the instant the last priest cleared the banks, the waters broke loose, and with a fearsome thunder, they resumed their mighty journey down the river. It was over. 40 years, as easily as that, their long journey was over, and there was no doubt that God was with Joshua just as he was with Moses. And here's the good news for all of you kids today. It's this: God is still with us. He's with you today. We get to live with God's promises today. Just as God led Joshua, remember kids, he is leading us. Have a great week and see you next week.
Here at Central, we believe that everybody is welcome here because no one is perfect, and through Jesus, anything is possible. And because everybody is welcome, we want to expand our reach to help more people find and follow Jesus. So, if you want to learn more about Central and to be a part of the mission through your generosity, I want to invite you to central-lutheran.org/give. There, you can set up a recurring gift. You can give a one-time gift, and you can learn more about what it means to be Forward Chippewa. You could also text CLGIVE to 206-859-9405 to get it set up that way as well. It's that easy. This week, Pastor Ned will be preaching our sermon series titled Battles and Blessings. It's going to be such an impactful time for all of us. So let's jump right in. Welcome to Central Lutheran Online.
I want to begin by saying hello to all the partners at Living Water in Cameron and Central here at Chippewa Falls, and also Bethel in New Auburn. You who are loved by the Lord, grace and peace to you all. Amen. Last fall, I spent a week out west hunting upland birds with my faithful dog, Sally. And one afternoon, we were walking this big stretch of just super beautiful, rugged hills where the game was beyond abundant, so much so that I completely lost track of time. So the sun is starting to sink into the horizon, so I began thinking, okay, time to get back, right? Except I had gone so far, made so many turns, I didn't know where back was. No compass, no cell reception, no GPS. I did what my dad taught me to do, walked in a straight line until I found a road, like, whew, okay? Except I had no idea where that road was going to take me. Now, when you're in a situation like that, you start asking questions, right? Like, am I on the right road? Am I heading the right direction? Are there wild animals? Is there like a mountain lion on that next outcropping that's going to jump down and eat me? You see, unfamiliar roads lead to unfamiliar questions. Here's the thing. The road that we've been on, it's a road none of us ever been down before. None of us have ever lived through a global pandemic. I mean, it's unprecedented. And you know what else is unprecedented? The number of times we've been saying the word unprecedented. Because here's the thing. When you're going through something unprecedented, you need for yourself and for others and from God unprecedented levels of grace. And you start asking questions. Questions like, God, are you trying to show me something here about who you are? God, how are you attempting to shape me, to mold my character? God, how do you want me to live on the other side of this? Because it feels like we are on or getting to the other side of this, right? Because God will often use roads we've never been down before to reveal himself to us. Psalm 18 says, "It is God who arms me with strength and keeps my ways secure. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer. He causes me to stand on the heights." Think of it. When David wrote that song, he wasn't on a beach somewhere drinking Mai Tais. He had just been through a battle. Now we're calling this series Battles and Blessings because we've got both of those things going on in our lives right now. I mean, Instagram notwithstanding, nobody's life is all blessing. And 24-hour cable news notwithstanding, our world is not one big battle. There are battles and blessings going on simultaneously all the time. Sometimes, though, it's so hard, it's such a challenge to see the blessings when the battles around us are raging so fiercely. Now, a year ago when the pandemic hit and we began isolating and distancing, I quickly realized my spiritual reserves, they were going down. They were depleting faster than I could fill them. So I started a brand new discipline, actually a couple of them, Bible reading, prayer. And one thing I did was dig out my old gratitude journal from a couple of years ago. And I began writing down each day just a few things that I was grateful for. Well, it was about a week ago. I made myself a cup of coffee. I sat down in the comfy office chair, picked up the journal, wrote in the day's date, and then nothing. I looked at the past 24 hours and thought, I hit my limit. I've had it. I honestly can say right now I am not feeling grateful for anything. So instead of writing down all the things that I was grateful for, I wrote down all the things I was not grateful for. Call it an ingratitude list, right? I mean, I started writing and they just flowed out of my pen. I had to make myself stop at 10. Now you're probably wondering, okay, what were they? Would you like me to tell you now? Yeah, I bet you would. Well, you're going to have to make your own ingratitude list. Okay, in all honesty, there are a lot of things that I don't like about the past 14 months. Things I've missed. Things that have made me sad. That day I sat there looking at my ingratitude list, and then I did this. I flipped back a few pages, and I looked at all the things over the past years I've been grateful for. And I heard God saying, Ned, it's okay. I can handle both of those lists. When or even where was it that we got the idea that God only wants the good stuff from us? That God's only interested in the polished, the cleaned up, the manicured version of you or me? Is it from when we were little kids, getting dressed up in our Sunday best? I mean, is it hearing things like, oh, nobody likes a complainer, so we kind of put all that stuff on God? Think of what David said. With my voice, I cry out to the Lord. With my voice, I plead for mercy to the Lord. I pour out my complaint before him. I tell him my troubles. God is saying, it's okay. You can complain to me. Bring it on, because I don't want just like this much of you. I want your joys and your sorrows. I want to laugh with you and cry with you. I want your high points and your heartache. Your fears and your failures, your gratitudes and your, ingratitudes, bring it all to me. You know why? I think God knows that if you and if we complain to God first, we won't have to complain to everybody else. If we complain to God, we won't have to share everything with everybody on Facebook, which is not called vulnerability, by the way. It's called vomiting. Yeah. When you throw up, here's the thing. When you throw up, you feel better, but nobody else does. God is saying, hey, come on, bring it over. Complain to me. I may not change your circumstances right away, but I can change you. Because when we bring God our complaints, he brings us his presence. When we bring our problems, he gives us his perspective. He trades our weakness for his strength, our fear for his courage. Now, the past couple weeks, we've been getting to know Joshua. And today, we pick up the story of Joshua in Joshua chapter 3, starting at verse 1. Early the next morning, Joshua and all the Israelites left Acacia Grove and arrived at the banks of the Jordan River, where they camped before crossing. 3 days later, the Israelite officers went through the camp, giving these instructions to the people. When you see the Levitical priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord, your God, move out from your positions and follow them. Since you have never traveled this way before, they will guide you. Stay about half a mile behind them, keeping a clear distance between you and the ark. Make sure you don't come any closer. Then Joshua told the people, purify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do great wonders among you. Okay, they're about to cross over the Jordan River. This is what? The moment. They've been slaves for over 400 years. They've wandered in the wilderness for 40 years, and now they're about to enter into the promised land. Just think of how you felt, assuming you have, okay, when after a year of closed doors, what it was like going back into your favorite restaurant. And the wait staff comes up, they come to your table, and they say, "Would you like any appetizers here?" Okay, they've been quarantining for 40 years, and they're about to enter the promised land. Did you catch what Joshua said? He said, "You've never been this way before." Wow. In other words, this is unprecedented. When I read this verse, it practically blew me away. I mean, I almost dropped my Bible. This is us, right? This is our story. We've never been this way before. In our church, at school, in our families, as a nation, at work, on sports teams, small businesses. We've never been this way before. What do you do when you're going down a road you've never been down before? How do you know which way is the right way, right, to go? I believe this passage gives us a couple things to do. If you're taking notes, here's the first one. Look for God and follow. Look for God and follow God. What did Joshua say? Look for the ark. When it moves, you move. Now, what is the ark? Okay, it was this very sacred chest, this most holy piece of godly furniture. And it contained inside was Aaron's staff, the manna, right? Jar of manna from the wilderness, and of course the Ten Commandments, representing all those things, the power, presence, and promises of God. And on the lid, you had these two cherubim facing out, right, with big wings, and then in between them was this chair, the seat, the mercy seat, the very throne of God. Now, if you've ever seen Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, you know, what do you not do? Never, never, never open that ark, right? In this most pivotal of moments, Joshua's telling his people, don't go solo here. Don't try and figure this thing out on your own. When you see God move, you move. When God goes, you go. Follow him, but don't get too close. Now, in the Hebrew it says stay back 2,000 cubits. That's about half a mile. Okay? And you thought social distancing was new? Joshua's saying, hey, there needs to be distance. Distance between you and God. Why? Because God is holy. God is set apart. And God is about to do something unprecedented, something he's never, never, never done before. Now, when you're on a road before where you've never been, here's my question. How do you look to God? Especially one you can't see, right? I mean, wouldn't it be nice if there were an Ark of the Covenant right now in 2021 where we could just look down the road and say, okay, there it is. Let's just keep our eyes on it. When it moves, we'll move, right? Oh, and by the way, don't get too close. You and I, all of us, we know how to look, don't we? I mean, we're good at looking. We know how to look at our news feed. We know how to look at our favorite TV shows and movies. We know how to look at social media. We look at shopping options on Amazon and friends and boyfriends, girlfriends. We're good at looking. And what do we know about looking? What we're looking at is also what we're putting our hope in. Joshua's saying, look for God. Look for God. Concentrate on God. Keep God at the top of your mind. And then, in the very next verse, Joshua says, consecrate yourselves. For tomorrow, the Lord is going to do amazing things. Now, if you're taking notes, the second thing we do is this. We consecrate ourselves. If you're looking to God is about your attention, consecration, it's about your heart. See, to consecrate, it's to dedicate. It's to set yourself apart for God. It's saying, everything I am, all I am, it's all for you. It's taking all the chips, moving them to the center of the table and saying, here, I'm all in. Now, for some of you, I know that's the most spiritual illustration you've ever heard me give, right? It's saying, okay, I'm holding nothing back. I'm in. All of me. Lord, I'm yours. I mean, think about it. Baptism. Baptism is such a beautiful picture of consecration. You know, a few days ago, I was looking through old photos for a picture project when I came across some images from our church's annual summer lake baptisms. It's so awesome seeing our worship leaders and our baptism families all out in the water. Sun is shining down. Everybody's smiling. There's laughter. There's music. And then comes this moment, right? When we plunge them down underneath the surface and they come back up. And you know what's interesting? In not one of those pictures did I see someone holding their hand above the surface or a leg or an elbow. They are all in. That is consecration. It's saying, Lord, all of my life, I surrender to you. Martin Luther, remember when it came to baptism, what he said, what he instructed all of his followers, all of Jesus' followers to do? He said, remember it. Every single day, remember your baptism, because every single day we sin. Every day we drift away from God, right? And every day we so need to be reminded of how precious we are to God and how he loves us so very, very much. Consecration. Consecrate yourselves, said Joshua, for tomorrow the Lord is going to do amazing things. Consecration, that's what we do. Amazing things, that's what God does. You see, I think sometimes we get it backwards, at least a little bit. We think amazing, that's our job, right? We carry around this pressure, most of us, I speak for myself. I got to be an amazing dad, right? Or an amazing mom, amazing wife, amazing husband, amazing artist, amazing student, amazing athlete, amazing leader, amazing pastor. God says, you know what? Hey, why don't you just consecrate yourself? Do that. Let me be the amazing one. If you'll just do this, just give me a life that is fully surrendered. I will do amazing things through you. And notice he says, consecrate yourselves and tomorrow I'll do the work. He doesn't say, consecrate yourselves and there will be a miracle in 5 minutes. That's because today's consecration is tied to tomorrow's miracles. God is saying, just give me your heart. Give it fully to me and if you trust me, I'll do 2 things. First, I'll work a blessing in your life tomorrow. And secondly, today, I'll satisfy your deepest longing. And we know what that is, right? A peace. A peace that we simply cannot live without. The peace of God. Joshua, what's so cool about this story? It's what happens next. Joshua tells the priest, okay, take that ark and go to the edge of the Jordan River, which at the time was at flood stage, so it's like a mile wide. It's huge. You can see why the people now were told to stand far back. It was for their own protection, right? And so they could be witnesses to future generations of the faithfulness of God. Because as they're up on those bluffs overlooking the river down below, they had the best of all possible seats for this incredible drama that was now going to unfold. Joshua tells the priest carrying the Ark of the Covenant, step foot in the water, which, if you've ever seen a river at flood stage, you know what's going to happen next. Okay, if God doesn't show up and show up quickly, they are taking a swim and that sacred piece of furniture. It's going to go downstream just as fast as you know how fast. Okay? It took faith to take that step. Yet when they did, Scripture says the water stopped. When the priest stepped in, the river went dry, and the entire nation of Israel was able to cross over safely on the other side, walking all the way on dry ground. God was saying, you want to see unprecedented? Step back, watch. You're going to see unprecedented. I'll show you unprecedented. Now, church, I don't know what water crossing you're staring at right now. All I know is we all have one, right? We do. Maybe it's a marriage that needs restoring. Maybe it's to have a child. Maybe it's finding a job. Maybe it's a breakthrough you need in your family, in your classroom. Maybe it's a healing of some kind, a release from addiction. Here's what we know. Sometimes, every once in a while, God will take us down a road we've never traveled so that we can see it's not a dead end, but an opportunity to witness God doing something truly, truly amazing. You know, in case you're wondering, God's not into social distancing, especially not spiritual distancing. You know, earlier he said, stay a half mile back, right? But what happened? Years later, Jesus arrives on the scene, and remember what they call him? Emmanuel, which means God smack dab here in the middle of us. Unprecedented. The presence of God right here, right among us, walking around one of us. I'm wearing red today. You know why? May 23rd is Pentecost Sunday. It's the day when Jesus just unleashed his Spirit, and every one of us got that Spirit so that he would always be with us this close. Think of that. The same Spirit that was in the ark, the same Spirit that was among the people of Israel, the same Spirit living in you and me, the same Spirit that filled Jesus living in us, so that you and me, we might have his peace and his promise and his provision and his power in us always. I want to close now by praying a prayer for you. It's a prayer of consecration. Now, whether you've never felt close to God, or perhaps were close and have wandered away, or are close now and want to be closer, either way, today's prayer is just for you. It's an invitation to you to be holy, holy gods, to be all in for the blessings that God is preparing in the midst of the battles we're facing. A blessing just for you. As I pray these words, I want to invite you to repeat them after me. Ready? Let's go. Father, thank you for loving me. Thank you for sending your son Jesus to die for me. Right now, I place my trust in you. I believe in you. I receive your forgiveness. I receive your grace. I receive your love. I go all in with you. Thank you for saving me. And all God's people said, Amen. God bless you all.
Thanks so much for joining us for worship today. We hope and pray that you will have a safe and wonderful week. Please never hesitate to reach out to us if you need prayer or need to meet with Pastor Aaron. We will see you all next time right here at Central Lutheran Online.